Hello YouTubers, this is the noobifier. Yesterday, Todd Pappy was asked about the legacy concept of agent smithing. That night, the members of Enemy Contact discussed it, and based on that conversation, I have some perspective for you on the subject. Let's begin. To understand the implications of the changes, let's quickly go over what we originally understood from before. The mechanic of agent smithing would have behaved something like this. I'm playing solo in a Cutlass Black on a cargo run with my trusted NPC turret gunner. I'm about to negotiate some jumps through some very dicey space, and I'm flying without an escort. My org mate Paldron logged in for a quick session before dinner. He would have been able to take control of my NPC, which is why it was called agent smithing, from the Matrix, in case you didn't know. Because of his skill, proficiency, and initiative, he played an integral part in my success, and we enjoyed playing as a team. He repaired with more speed, he called out targets more accurately, and most importantly, he was able to operate with initiative, requiring no micromanagement from me. In this isolated case, in my opinion, the mechanic wouldn't seem to break the universe, break the economy, and the team play was fun. Our discussions that night led to a scenario where this could clearly step over the line. Same scenario, but on a larger scale. Replace the Cuddy with a solo player Idris and an NPC crew of 70, going from point A to point B. All's going well, and then all of a sudden things go pear-shaped and the ship is under attack. The player sends a general call for help in the Enemy Contact Discord. Org members find a safe place to log out properly in their beds and save their progress. Then they log back in, occupying positions on the Idris NPC crew, resulting in a 100% living crew. So I don't really know how I feel about this because there's so many unfinished mechanics, but initially it seems kind of like a cake and eat it too situation. If we could just agent smith, we would never need to consider capital ship crews, we could just populate whatever ship happens to be needing attention at that time. Obviously the NPC crew would still need to be present and would need to be paid, but it seems like a very convenient exploit. Without Agent Smith, that Idris owner would need to plan and staff in advance for whatever balance between living and NPC crew they would be willing to operate with. We then discussed some ways that we could still exploit the situation and bypass the new announcement. The general consensus was that org members might simply have alt accounts with more basic packages. My main noobifier account would have all my gear, swag, and ships. Based on the future needs of the org, I could pre-position one of my alts by boarding them and then logging out. Because my player skill is the commodity that's needed, every so often I might decide to play my alt aboard the ship, to improve my familiarity and refine my skills. I suppose what I'm trying to say is, I could technically circumvent the no Agent Smith policy simply by buying a starter package on a second account. When the chips are down and that ship is at risk, I could simply log in, help out, and then return to my regular character, performing whatever mission I was doing. I'm fully convinced that having your alts as character slots in the same account would be addressed by CIG with a cooldown or some other method. Having your alts spread out over many accounts would allow you to scatter peace of mind across your fleet. So now the important part. It's common in the military when identifying a problem to suggest a solution. After reading the comments in Spectrum and Reddit, it's clear that people are mainly upset because they would now need to spend hours just to link up with their friends. Many people simply don't want to waste the entirety of their playtime to link up and perform a mission. The proposed VIP and personal transportation mechanics could easily be used to preserve the universe's temporal balance and allow for those players to plan ahead and squad up. I recently did a fully detailed video on that subject as part of the job series. As part of those game mechanics, players would compete against each other to move citizens where they needed to be. Reputation, security, reliability, speed, cost, luxury. These would all be taken into consideration when a player hires you to move them aboard your ship. I usually use scenarios to explain myself, so here's how the suggestion might play out. My org mate and Fred Paldron and I decide that we want to do some cargo runs tomorrow night around Hurston. He was actually recently playing very far from Hurston. He thinks it would take him about 4 actual hours to travel and link up. He logs into the scheduled flights, negotiates a fare, and buys a ticket on a transport. The trip is expected to take 6 hours and will cost him 5,000 UEC. When he logs in the next day, his character would be at the destination on Hurston, ready to link up with me and start the mission. Similarly, if he needed a ship to perform the mission, we've been teased with a ship moving module for the Hull series. The process could be similar. I personally feel this would be a great game mechanic, preserving the universe's time dilation, restoring some reality, and mitigating what could be seen as a teleporting exploit. With a little bit of planning, the casual player could link up at a destination, traveling in downtime with ease, ready to go. This would also ensure that an org couldn't quickly abuse a mechanic to quickly consolidate a force on the other side of the universe. We wouldn't be able to brigade from ship to ship and add that layer of planning that interested me in the first place. It's not a question of the casual player versus the hardcore. It's a matter of accommodating all player backers with a simple balance mechanic that makes sense. So, now it's up to you. I'd like you to use this video to start a discussion with your org mates, just like we did in Enemy Contact. Do you feel that the solution could be to let players pay to arrive on time where they need to be? And do you feel that it could be expanded to include negotiating that travel from a mobile app or within Spectrum? Talk with your friends, decide on a meeting point, and then pre-stage your character ready to play together. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.